This is a message for Canadian progressives who are maybe interested in Mark Carney in the upcoming election. And it's fair you might be interested in him given his energy, the elbows up, positive vibes that he's eliciting. It's kind of going the way that Kamala went with these coconut memes and the brat summer helping her out. Kind of really winning the vibe war, at least now. But I want to talk to you about why Carney is not your savior. Mark Carney is a centrist conservative. He's viewing the old ratchet effect to the right, and he's not going to improve the material conditions of Canadians. In fact, because he believes so much in free market solutions and austerity cuts and competing to reduce taxes, he's just going to worsen the material conditions and increase the chance, if he wins, that another right-wing populist like Polyev gets in, because they will be able to channel the anger, because no working class Canadians will get richer. Billionaires will get tax cuts, and it's all just going to be the same mess that we've been complaining about for the last 15 years. It just seems to be a race to the bottom with each of them, and a special shout out to Mark Carney for appointing Mark Mendocino as a transitionary chief of staff, who's staunchly pro-Israel and was against a ceasefire. Sorry, 1 second here. Sorry, folks, 1 second. He opposed a parliamentary motion calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, leading to criticism from Canadians for Justice and Peace in the Middle East. And they described him as openly hostile to Palestinian human rights. And I would agree with that. You know, on the conservative estimate, 50,000 Gazans have been slaughtered. And I've seen estimates all the way up to 150,000. So I'm tired of liberals playing this game of our genocide is more acceptable than yours. I think it's just disgusting. I think they played the same games with Biden and it didn't work out. Gaza was one of the top issues why Trump won. So to continue this, it's just abhorrent. And I will put in the caveat that he is a transitionary figure. So hopefully we get a better chief of staff should the Liberals win. But this is not a good sign. And same thing with cutting the carbon tax. The carbon tax saved Canadians money. It was he's kept the corporate carbon tax, which is good, or he says he's going to. But cutting the consumer carbon tax, we got money back from the rebates at the end of the year. So it makes no sense why you get rid of that. And there's been very little talk of climate change in this election, so it's getting ridiculous. And especially these tax cuts, they're just, him and Polyev are just, it's a race to the bottom with the tax cuts. Who's going to cut the most taxes, who's going to cut the income tax the most. And it's like, no, you're cutting taxes. That's taking money away from the public sector and putting it into the private interests, therefore giving them more power, giving them more control to do artificial stagflation, artificially jack up their prices. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, really. He has a financial background with free market solutions as in the Bank of England and in the Bank of Canada with the Conservatives. So, progressives, leftists, I don't think this is our guy. Should he win? I hope he proves us wrong. I really do. If Polyev wins, I hope he proves us wrong. But, it's not looking good. The NDP numbers are collapsing. I mean, they've become a more neoliberal party anyway. So I think a lot of leftists and progressives are going to be kind of at odds of who to vote for in this election. And I don't exactly have a recommendation, but Mark Carney, not your savior.